news comes first. This is ABC-7 Extra.
Good evening, I'm Saul Saenz, and this is ABC-7 Extra. A new order issued by El Paso public health officials Thursday bans any school from having in-person classes until after September 7th. School athletic programs are included in this order as well. That order says all students are considered, quote, medically fragile under the Disabilities Education Act, and as a result, will not return to in-person classes until 2021-2022 school year. Tonight, we talked to a local superintendent who's member of the state task force responsible for finding ways to safely bring students back into the classrooms. And we'll also talk with a teachers union representative. Now, this decision made by the city and county health authority across the borderland. ABC7's Brianna Chavez reports for Extra.
There is going to be resistance.
Javier Miranda is a high school teacher. One of the many, he says, is concerned about bringing students back in the fall. He says it's too soon and is even considering retiring.
It would be a much prudent move to at least delay it for the entire semester.
Another teacher who asked to remain anonymous disagrees, saying teachers are essential public servants who feel obligated to do what's best for our kids. And the longer they're physically not in school, the more their future is being compromised. With the new order from the city county health authority, schools cannot start in-person instruction until after Labor Day.
Today, I informed our community that we have amended our school calendar.
SISD, along with EPISDs, pushing back their start dates for the school year to August 17th, with 3 weeks of online instruction, then going back in person September 8th.
Our first and foremost priority is the health and well-being of staff and students, and so we want to make sure conditions are better.
Both districts are complying with the Texas Education Agency guidelines released earlier this week, giving parents the options for their kids to receive in-person instruction 5 days a week or remote learning.
We are an educational institution, but we know, we also are responsible for, 55,000 students and more than 8,000 employees, and so we take that very seriously.
Please, let's do our part practicing social distance. You want our schools to be open, but to be open safely.
Now, joining us to talk about all the complexities of students returning to campus under this latest health authority order is EPISD Superintendent and School Reopening Task Force member Juan Cabrera. Also joining us is El Paso Teachers Association President Norma de la Rosa. Mr. La Rosa, I will start with you. We know what EPISD is doing, SISD and YISD, what they're all doing, because they're basically their hands are tied by the health authority. What are teachers saying about all this?
Well, I will tell you that teachers as a whole, not just here in the borderland, but across the country, are saying that, we are ready to go back to work. They are anxious to go back to school and get back with their kids and understanding that we know that face-to-face instruction is the best instruction that we can provide for our students. But we are also concerned about the rise of cases of the COVID-19 across the country. And right now, teachers are very much concerned about the push to put children back into school without knowing what the safety and the health protocols are going to be. We are very adamant that the safety and health protocols for the students and the employees who go back into the buildings have to be there and have to be maintained so that they are in a safe environment.
Mr. Cabrera, are you comfortable that all those protocols are in place? And of course, you have to wait until after September 7th as well, right?
No, I'm not comfortable that they are in place. Those are the issues that we're working through. My commitment is first and foremost to the academic well-being of our students. But in this particular scenario, with an unprecedented situation like COVID, I now also have to worry about the health and safety of the adults. Remember, pre-COVID, the adults were a given. Our adults all showed up, our bus drivers, our custodians, our food service workers, all of our teachers and administrators. I didn't worry about them. They love to work and they love to be there with kids. We always just worried about accessing our kids and getting them into school because that's where they learn. Now, all of a sudden, I've got to make sure that these conditions are safe and healthy for adults. And we do not have that worked out. We're going to abide by the CDC guidelines and we're getting ready for that. We're preparing for that. So I welcome the city's order. We need more time. We want to get prepared. If we open the doors to adults, I'm walking in those buildings too. I'm going to spend time in the schools. This is the same for me as everyone else. These buildings need to be safe for everyone. We can't just open schools in the silo to say kids need to be educated. We know that. We're horrified by what could have happened here with this academic slide for a lot of our students. But we can't simply let that be the only driver. We have to take care of the adults that need to be in the buildings with students.
Ms. La Rosa, are teachers prepared to provide online instruction?
Well, I think they had a lot of good practice at the end of last year when everything was shut down and teachers began with the online learning. I think there's still a lot that they need to learn and they need to practice. One of their concerns was, making sure that they were getting in touch with all of their students and all of their parents. And but they're learning. I know a lot of teachers have taken the time over the summer to learn more about online distance learning and what needs to be done. Because again, as they saw the rise of the cases of COVID, particularly here in the El Paso area, their concern was they wanted to be prepared because they were not going to be prepared to go into the buildings. And they feel more comfortable right now doing the online distance learning. And teachers are very resilient and they will do what they need to do to provide the best that they can for their students.
Okay, we're going to take a really quick break. And when we come back, you're watching ABC-7 Extra. When we come back, with face-to-face instruction pushed back, are school districts and teachers prepared to provide virtual education to the tens of thousands of students across the borderland? You're watching ABC-7 Extra, where news comes first.
Are you ready to sink your teeth into a lemon pepper, sweet and spicy Korean cute-tastic, mango habanero
masterclass in all things wings?
Yes, I am.
Are you though?
Get Wingstop's new all-in bundle delivered for a limited time.
I'm Carla Griffin. During this period of uncertainty, many people in our community have reached out to Watson and Griffin for answers. We have made accommodations to start consultations over the phone. If you have any questions about your financial future, please call us. We're here to help.
Because your home is your castle, you shouldn't let just anyone paint it. That's why El Paso Paint Kings follows a 7-step program to protect and beautify your home. By carefully inspecting it from the foundation to the roof, we'll know exactly what needs to be done. And right now, take advantage of our spring special, starting as low as $29.99. You'll appreciate how we pay attention to all the details, and we use only the highest quality of paint and materials, and we always make sure we leave the job site clean. When experience matters, call El Paso Paint Kings, where we treat your home like our home. Call now.
Who are we? We're working people desperate for access to affordable health care and leadership recovering from this pandemic. We won't let families be ripped apart at our border any longer. We stand together against the systemic racism that has hurt Black Americans for far too long. I'm MJ Hagar, a veteran and a mom, and I approved this message because we're Texas, and this election, we can show the country what that means.
There's only one word to describe the savings at Oscar Leaser's Hyundai of El Paso. Epic! During Hyundai's Epic Summer Sales Event, you'll save thousands in interest with 0% APR for 72 months on new Tucsons and Santa Fe's. With no payments for 90 days and 3 years included maintenance. Plus new Tucsons only $229 per month. New Sonatas now $199 a month. And new Elantras now $189 per month. Get epic savings now at Oscar Leaser's Hyundai of El Paso.
My Oscar is such a good boy.
Welcome back. As soon as El Paso's health authority released the new order banning in-person instruction until after September 7th, school officials started formulating a response to give parents an idea how classes will resume this semester.
I also agree with Dr. Ocaranza with his order, their order to delay the start of in-person instruction till after Labor Day.
If we've learned anything over the past several months in the last semester is that conditions can change very quickly, and so we need to all plans always remain flexible and are fluid. And that continues to be the case. So while we've been preparing for the return of school, we also have been working very closely with local health authorities.
I also want to welcome back EPISD Superintendent and School Reopening Task Force member Juan Cabrera. Also joining us is El Paso Teachers Association President Norma de la Rosa. Again, thank you so much for taking time on this Sunday evening to talk to us. Mr. Cabrera, we were talking before we even started this show about how social skills are also very important. We emphasize to our children we don't want you spending too much time on the computer. Now it's the other way around. Is EPISD and all the borderland, are they prepared to provide some sort of instruction when it comes to social skills?
Listen, I can say with 100% certainty that EPISD is as well prepared as any district in the country for online learning. We've worked on this for over 5-6 years with one-to-one computers and training our teachers. But all of that being said, online is much more difficult to really get through with children than it is face-to-face. The best online school is not as good as a face-to-face instruction and the relationships that we'll be able to build in a classroom. But we're having to deal with the situation that's in front of us, and it's really a sort of a pool of bad decisions, right? We have to choose maybe the best of the worst options. We want kids to be in a normal school environment as it was pre-COVID. That is not possible. Even if we get our kids back in school, it's not going to look like it did, prior to March. So if we're ready to go online, if we have to we are prepared to go online, and we are going to make the best of it. And I can assure El Paso families that your online instruction is going to be as good as it gets in the country. And we will work hard to try to get all of our kids back into buildings as soon as the health authorities say that it's appropriate.
Mr. La Rosa, let's talk about the reality of this situation. If and when children do come back to in-classroom instruction, how likely is it that these children will be washing their hands constantly, that they'll be wearing face masks? I mean, they are children after all. They are kids.
Yes, they are children. And that is a very big concern with our teachers. Our teachers are prepared to go to school with their masks. In fact, I've had a lot of my members tell me that they themselves have bought out of their own pockets the face shields as well, because they want to make sure that they are well protected. But they also know their children very well, especially our lower grades, our pre-K, kindergarten, first and second graders. Those children are not used to having a mask on their face. And that is the biggest concern that our teachers are expressing to me right now. It says, well, what happens when a child, takes off their mask and they lose it, or there's a lot of reasons that children don't keep masks on their face. And that is an extreme concern to our teachers. But it's not just the little ones. This is, teachers are also concerned with some of our students who just maybe will walk into a building with a mask on and then very defiantly take the mask off and refuse to wear it during the school day. And they're very concerned about that as well, because we need to understand that we have a lot of teachers that are have immune deficiency systems, are very concerned about their own health, or are very concerned about the health of family members at home. I've had a teacher tell me that she has an 89-year-old mother at home that lives with her who has kidney disease, liver disease, heart problems, is a diabetic, goes to dialysis 3 days a week. And she says, I'm ready to go back to work. I said, but what do I do when a student, or students refuse to wear their masks, refuse to follow the protocols, refuse to
Yeah, let's pose that question to Mr. Cabrera, because as a task force member, you're not only supposed to know what's going on with EPISD, but as the other independent school districts as well. What do you do in a situation like that when children refuse to wear their mask and could be asymptomatic?
Yeah, so there are some rules around, the mandatory utilization of masks for kids under a certain age. But I want to say now and make it very clear, EPISD will require everyone to wear masks. This is not a place, if you want to, use your constitutional rights or try to fight that issue, this is a health and safety issue. And we're not going to let folks in the buildings. Of course, we're going to have to make concessions for some of our babies, and we'll work through that. But kids older than first grade that understand it, second grade, you have to wear a mask, and adults are going to have to wear a mask. It's a condition of employment for all of our employees. You will not get to do your job in one of our buildings if you refuse to wear a mask. I can speak for the adults, and visitors to our building and students are going to be under the same conditions. You have to wear a mask. We know The data shows that that helps with transmissibility. And if I'm charged with the health and safety of the employees and I'm requiring them to wear a mask, then everyone else has to wear one too. This is a very sort of communal goal, right? Together we can help each other stay safe and open our buildings, but everyone has to wear a mask.
What do you say to the children, though? What do you say to the children? You have to wear your mask or else? Disciplinary?
There's going to be a form of that. There has to be. How else do we keep the adults safe? People need to understand the kids don't teach themselves. If the teachers aren't safe, or if I start losing teachers, then we can't have somebody in the classroom teaching. We need to help each other. It needs to be reasonable here. I don't want to take political stances or take stances on pro-mask, whatever. We need masks to keep everyone safe. That's the bottom line, and we're going to enforce that across all of our schools and buildings.
Okay, we're going to take another quick break. Still ahead, what are the best teaching practices in the middle of a pandemic? We'll be right back.
Have you tried the sandwich yet? You know that crispy chicken on toasted brioche. It's like...
I'm experiencing some things right now.
Look at you looking all special. Get the sandwich for $3.99. Pick up in the drive-thru or get free delivery.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
This 4th of July, there are savings throughout the store to make this the best time to get your great night's sleep. Save up to $800 store-wide. Save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic Breeze adjustable sets. Plus, if you're looking for adjustable sleep, then Mattress Firm is your place. 20 models under just $15.99. Plus, for a limited time, get your free adjustable base with purchase. Mattress Firm's your mattress headquarters for 23 years.
Mattress Firm, where it's easy to get a great night's sleep.
Texas. For a moment, we pause. Then we get back on the horse. America's best-selling brand for 43 years will lead the way. Ford F-150 and Ford Super Duty. Built for Texas, built for getting back to business. For a limited time, get 0 for $72 on the Ford F-150 at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford, built for Texas, built for you.
As a native El Pasoan and candidate for district attorney, I am committed to seeking justice with integrity, experience, and transparent leadership. I will aggressively prosecute all crimes, including domestic violence, repeat DWI offenders, and animal cruelty. I will create a mental health unit for cases involving mental health issues, including veterans suffering from PTSD. I'm Yvonne ROSALES, and with 3 times more the legal experience as my opponent, I will fight for you.
Paid for by the campaign of Yvonne ROSALES for district attorney.
When you're on the go, watch ABC-7 newscasts on the KVIA News app. You never need to miss the latest important updates about coronavirus on the borderland. Download the KVIA News app at the App Store, Google Play, or kvia.com.
Get the app, get the alert.
Welcome back to ABC-7 Extra. Also, welcome back to EPISD Superintendent and School Reopening Task Force Member Juan Cabrera. Also joining us is El Paso Teacher Association President Norma De La Rosa. I'll start with you this time, Mr. Cabrera. What about sports? Sports is such a big part of Texas schools. Not just El Paso. What do you do in a situation such as this where kids, they know that they want to join sports, they want to be a part of sports, they want to be a part of competition? What do you do?
Well, obviously, we're very concerned. It seems a little bit of a contradiction when we talk about the social distancing and what we have to do in our buildings, and yet we're going to let kids go out there and play sports. I'm sure that message is confusing. But really, the way sports work in Texas in high schools is University Interscholastic League, commonly known as UIL in Austin, makes all of these decisions. And in fact, they're meeting again early next week to tell us, along this entire process, when it comes to extracurricular activities, we take all of our guidance and direction from UIL, not TEA, but UIL. And where we stand now, the season is opening, and they have a lot of restrictions around practice right now, mandated to be outdoors. But we're all waiting. Monday or Tuesday, we're going to get the notice from them about the next steps. Honestly, I want to know how UIL and TIA are going to make those two contradictory situations work. I don't know how we mandate social distancing and masks in our buildings, yet everyone gets to go play contact sports. That's for our folks in Austin to decide, but I can assure you I'll have some opinions on that once we get our feedback from them sent down in next Monday or Tuesday.
Well, let's get Mr. La Rosa's opinion on something like that. It does sound somewhat contradictory that you want to distance your children, the students, you want them to wear masks and whatnot, yet sports will still be a part of all this. Your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a lot of what has come out of TEA and even UIL. Some of the guidance that has come out of UIL has been very contradictory to CDC guidelines and what we're hearing and what we feel needs to happen. But I do totally agree. It says we can't allow for our students to be required to have social distancing and constantly washing their hands after they've touched the desk, and teachers having to clean all of that, clean all the surfaces after students have touched and so forth, and hand sanitizers. But then allow our students to go out and play football or to play basketball. And I will tell you that I having been a former athlete myself, I know that this is part of what entices a lot of our students to stay in school. But unfortunately, with the situation as it is, our kids need to, right now, as long as the COVID the COVID cases continue to go up, our kids need to stay home. Our teachers need to stay home, and we need to do everything by online learning until such time that everything has been stabilized here.
Mr. Cabrera, are school districts looking for ways that students still can compete and still maintain? You obviously have to get very creative, but are you all looking for ways so that students can still compete, have that social inaction or reaction or interaction, and still maintain the protocols?
So up to date, and I think this is a very timely discussion probably for the next couple of weeks, Mr. Sines, we've spent 100% of our time focusing on the classrooms and how we're going to get started again, because again, we're waiting for UIL to give us this next wave of guidance. They've actually asked us to take the early part of July off, and that's why they've slated the Monday or Tuesday as sort of the next phase of the guidance. I think they're also waiting to see what the numbers look like across the state. And at this point, we have not spent any time on athletics other than the current outdoor practices, simply because we're waiting for UIL to give us guidance on the fall semester. We spoke about this during one of the breaks. New Mexico just canceled all fall sports until the spring. I think that's a good idea. I don't know exactly what the folks at UIL have in mind, but
should that happen here? Should that happen here in El Paso in the borderland?
It's not going to happen in El Paso alone. This is going to be a statewide decision from UIL. Again, we'll take our guidance from them. But as soon as this guidance comes down next week, we will immediately shift our focus to complying with the guidance and then making sure we find as many opportunities for our students. Like Ms. De La Rosa said, I'm a student that without sports, I wouldn't have made it through high school. We understand how important it is for students. We want that, but we also don't want all of our coaches to get sick. So we're going to have to find all of that balance. That's the real challenge.
Mr. La Rosa, you just heard what Mr. Cabrera said, that New Mexico's taking a stand and banning sports. Should El Paso schools do the same thing?
That's a hard question because, El Paso being part of Texas.
I know I'm putting you on the spot. I know that, but let's see where it is that we can go here.
With El Paso being part of Texas, and we all know that in Texas, football is big. That is Texas. But I'm hoping that the community and I think our coaches full well understand, says that if it doesn't happen, they full well understand. But I'm hoping that the community and the state as a whole understands that should football and the fall sports have to be canceled for this year. It's not because we felt like, we're just not going to have football or basketball or anything else. It's because our concern is for the health and the safety of our students who would be participating in those sports, of our coaches who would be involved with working with those students. And we know that our coaches work very, very closely with those students. With a lot of those sports, there's no way to social distance between a coach and a student when they're trying to show them a drill or trying to get them to learn a play. And also for the health and safety of the fans who would be going to those events. So this is not just a matter of deciding that we're not going to have sports. It's a health and safety concern and a health and safety issue for everybody, not just our students and our coaches who would be involved.
Mr. Cabrera, in the 30 seconds that we have left, should we be looking at sports that are non-contact sports and promoting that instead, like golf or other sports?
Well, I mean, certainly I think those sports will be easier to play because of the social distancing guidelines. But, you know, if you played football all your life or volleyball or basketball, we're not going to turn you into golfers and tennis players overnight. We know that. We have to find a way to get everyone back on the field, to get them back into their sport of choice. You know, if I'm a junior or a senior, I don't get this year back. I understand that. I mean, to me, when I was a junior or senior for my football and baseball seasons, they were life and death to me. So even though we're all adults and we realize, you know, that there's a lot more to life than high school sports, when you're sitting in those chairs, just like graduation, it was very difficult for us to put on a graduation outdoors. I don't think the public realizes how hard our team worked to do that. But it meant a lot to those seniors. And I've gotten hundreds and hundreds of positive emails thanking us for that.
Mr. Cabrera,
just like we did for the yes.
Yeah, Mr. Cabrera, Ms. De La Rosa, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. And thank you for joining us this Sunday evening for ABC 7 Extra. Good night y buenas noches.